If you don't want a Trump presidency, then are you not worried about what he could do domestically to this country?
I am, it's like a vaccine. I'm willing to take short-term pain for a long-term gain. I'm willing to let go of Joe Biden and oppose Joe Biden, make him a one-term president, punish Joe Biden by making him a one-term president and pairing his loss with the genocide in Gaza.
38,000 Palestinian lives is more than self-defense, isn't it? It's more than self-defense.
Well, their goal, and I just saw President Herzog, for whom I have enormous respect, and said, how are things? And he basically said, we just have a couple more steps and then we'll be through this. So that sounded optimistic to me, that they think that it is in reach to rid Gaza of Hamas. I don't hear a lot of the people, and they're outside my house almost every day, but nobody cares about that, and I don't mean to make that a big thing, but I just hear them saying, free the hostages. I don't hear any of them saying Hamas is a terrorist organization. I hear them praising Hamas. I hear them ignoring the hostages. So there's a lot of, shall we say, behavior we all have to address here.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about more bad news for Democrats and the Biden administration, okay, especially when it comes to this issue of Israel and Palestine, which has become the Achilles heel of the Democrat Party, because it seems as if at least one state is in danger of being lost by Joe Biden because of this issue. And that state is the state of Michigan, that has a large Muslim/Arab population that has come out and said, we're not going to vote for Joe Biden because of his support for Israel and their defense operation in Gaza. Now, this is a big deal because Michigan is a swing state. It is a state that was narrowly lost by Trump in 2020, but he won it in 2016. So it is reasonable to conclude that Michigan could flip back red again. And it is a very important state when you're talking about winning the 2024 election. And Biden knows this. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that Biden is not only feeling the pressure, but he's caving to the pressure of the activists when it comes to this issue and trying to force a peace agreement between Israel and Hamas, okay? And one of the reasons why is because it seems like there's a very serious effort to not vote for Joe Biden in 2024 over this issue. And I'm going to talk about that. But first, I want to play this clip from MSNBC, who is asking voters about voting for Joe Biden and this issue coming up on the Michigan primary. And it is videos like this that I think are driving some of what we're seeing from Democrats in regards to their kind of 180 on this issue moving forward. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Forward for you with Biden?
Oh, absolutely not. You cannot keep killing people with our money and just keep thinking that, oh, we are stupid enough to elect you again, because we'll fall in line. We'll forget. Like, this is an insult to me as a voter.
For you, Biden has a pathway forward.
Biden has a pathway forward. It's not.
And what does that look like?
That is him calling for a permanent and immediate ceasefire. The straightforward, simple answer for the Biden administration is push for a ceasefire, stop aiding Israel in their war crimes, and I guarantee you there are enough people who would be willing to deal with it and vote for the man. It is, in so many words, insane to me to have the Democratic Party and the Biden administration sit here and essentially say, if Trump happens, it's your fault.
If you don't want a Trump presidency, then are you not worried about what he could do domestically to this country?
I am, it's like a vaccine. I'm willing to take short-term pain for a long-term gain. I'm willing to let go of Joe Biden and oppose Joe Biden, make him a one-term president, punish Joe Biden by making him a one-term president and pairing his loss with the genocide in Gaza.
Why is having a Trump presidency more important than those people's lives? Why is our democracy more important than thousands of men, women, and children being killed?
All right, so again, there's a whole lot of brainwashing here, okay? First and foremost, this individual talking about why is our democracy more important than what's happening in Israel and Palestine. Well, first and foremost, again, this is a false talking point. Our democracy is not on the line, right? First and foremost, that is BS, okay? But clearly and obviously she believes that Trump is a threat. But what you're seeing here is that they are so passionate about that conflict that they would much rather, in their minds, have our democracy be overthrown by Trump than to continue to support Israel and their operation in Gaza, right? That is what you're hearing here. Now, this guy right here, who is the founder of Abandon Biden, is saying that, well, I'm willing to endure short-term pain in order to, I guess, achieve a long-term goal. But listen, here's the thing, though, right? It's not like Trump's policy is going to be that much different than Biden's policy when it comes to Israel, because I would argue that Trump is probably more pro-Israel than Biden is. And I guess the choice that they're making here, the decision that they're making is that, well, we know we're not going to get anything different from these guys when it comes to this Israel-Palestine situation. So if I was one of these people, I would be saying, well, look, at least under Trump, the economy was better, right? The border was more secure. And also from a social values perspective as well, too. I'm not sure how these Muslims can vote for progressive Democrats. I mean, these are the same people, these Muslims in Michigan and Dearborn, that were upset with Democrats trying to push porn on their kids in school, right? So you're going along with these Democrats who clearly have social values that are in opposition to your religion, but yet you vote for them for whatever reason, right? When, you know, again, you're going to get the same outcome from a foreign policy perspective, specifically when it comes to this issue of Israel, as you're going to get with Trump or anybody else. But at least with conservatives, you're going to be at least somewhat aligned when it comes to social issues, and you're going to get a better economy when it comes to having a Republican. So again, I don't really understand this, right? I don't really get when this guy says that it's like a short-term pain, right? Trump is not a short-term pain, okay? I'm not sure if that's the way I would characterize a Trump presidency. But I do understand the calculation that, okay, well, you know, this conflict is important to me and it sways my vote, which in my opinion, I think is kind of silly that you let some foreign conflict sway your vote about who should lead the United States, okay? And your issue is not the money that we're giving away, because I definitely can understand it if you say, look, well, I just don't want us to keep giving away money to support these foreign conflicts, which is where I'm at, right, personally. But I'm not in a position where I'm saying that, well, I'm going to have my vote be determined by who I want to win the conflict, right? Or who I think is right in the conflict. My vote is more about, well, I just really don't want to support any of these conflicts, okay? I just don't want to keep sending taxpayer dollars to Ukraine. And quite honestly, I'm not sure if it's smart to continue to send taxpayer dollars to Israel to support what they're doing, okay? I'm just saying. I think personally, I want to see the U.S. Kind of back away from getting involved in everybody else's drama and just worry about ourselves, right? Take care of the American people. That's where I'm at. I'm America first, right? Nobody else but America first. So, you know, I get it being a part of the calculus, right? But I don't understand it being the determining factor in regards to who you vote for. But regardless, the takeaway here that MSNBC hates to hear is the fact that you have these voters who are so passionate about this conflict that they are quite literally going to say, you know what, I would rather have Trump, who's going to have the same foreign policy, just to teach Biden a lesson that you cannot be pro-Israel in this conflict, than to allow him to be pro-Israel and to get away with it. That is extremely powerful, okay? Because that means that all of the anti-Trump talking points is not going to work. Even though they know that they're probably going to get the same foreign policy outcome with Trump when it comes to this issue as they will with Biden, they really just want to teach Biden that if you fall out of line with us, we're going to punish you regardless, right? Again, that's pretty crazy to think about. So with that being said, what you're seeing here from Democrats is that they're changing their tune. Okay, like for example, Nancy Pelosi, who, you know, has trashed the pro-Palestinian protesters, saying that, you know, they're funded by China. Okay, their headquarters are in China and stuff like that, saying they might be funded by Russia. Okay, one day they're funded by Russia, one day they're funded by China, right? Whatever fits their narrative. Okay, and now she's coming out and basically, you know, going after Netanyahu as well too, okay? And that's the new target for Democrats. They're openly trashing Netanyahu. Let's listen to this.
The White House has escalated its rhetoric pretty sharply last week. Mr. Biden said Israel's conduct of the war was over the top. There are a lot of innocent people who are starving. He said there are a lot of innocent people who are in trouble and dying, and it's got to stop. Can Mr. Biden make it stop?
Well, we have I don't want to call him Mr. because I've lost so much respect for him, Netanyahu there, who seems to be...
You've lost respect for him.
Long time ago. But nonetheless, he seems to be calling the shots, and he and his very extreme right wing, I wouldn't even say conservative, because that's a legitimate place to be in the world of thinking on the spectrum, but right wing, radical right wing cabinet. So I would hope that hearing from a friend of Israel, as Joe Biden has always been, and all of us have been, that he would respect the lives of the people who are innocent collateral damage in this war.
But there are levers that Biden could use, which he hasn't used. There are levers which previous presidents have used when Israel has, in their view, crossed the line.
For example?
Go back to 1956. Eisenhower threatened sanctions if Israel didn't pull its forces out of Sinai. Reagan, held up delivery of fighter jets over Israel's action in Lebanon. George Bush Sr. blocked loan guarantees because of settlement building.
He did. I was there the day that you're going back to 56. I mean,
so these levers are there, aren't they?
Well, there's some, but the president has said something about the settlements. He has said something about the settlements.
But saying and blocking weapons supplies, for instance, are very different things, aren't they?
Well, it's not. It's a path. It's a path.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, so again, they're singing a different tune now. Okay, and why they singing a different tune is because they're afraid of losing some of these voters, right? These people who are saying that, we're not voting for Joe Biden no matter what, right? As long as he supports this, we are not going to vote for Joe Biden. And you're seeing it show up in policy because the Biden administration has now come out and announced, this actually came out today, that they're restoring Trump rescinded policy on the illegitimacy of Israeli settlements. Okay, so they're basically saying that, we're not going to turn a blind eye anymore to some of these Israeli settlements in occupied Palestinian territories, right? So they're now acknowledging that, hey, this is illegitimate under international law, which, again, is happening in the midst of the voter backlash against Biden, and Biden essentially losing in the polls and losing a lot of young people's support over this issue. So let's read here. The Biden administration on Friday restored a U.S. legal finding dating back nearly 50 years that Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories are illegitimate under international law. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the United States believes settlements are inconsistent with Israel's obligations, reversing a determination made by his predecessor, Mike Pompeo, and the Biden administration's latest shift away from the pro-Israel policies pursued by former President Donald Trump. Blinken's comments came in response to a reporter's question about an announcement that Israel would build more than 3,300 new homes in West Bank settlements as a repost to a fatal Palestinian shooting attack. Okay, so basically, the Biden administration is essentially coming out here and saying that, hey, you know what? We're not going to turn a blind eye to these settlements anymore, even though we were before in the past. And again, this is all coming as there's a lot of pressure that is being put on Biden when it comes to the young voters, the young pro-Palestinian voters. He might lose a whole state because of this, okay? And also behind the scenes, apparently, Biden has been pushing Bibi Netanyahu on trying to come to at least a temporary ceasefire, okay? And it seems like Bibi is responding, okay, as this has also come out, that he agrees to send Israeli negotiators for hostage talks under U.S. pressure, or after U.S. pressure. So let's read here. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed on Thursday to send Israeli negotiators to Paris on Friday for talks with CIA Director Bill Burns, the Qatari Prime Minister, and Egyptian spy chief on a new hostage deal, as Israeli official and a source with direct knowledge told Axios. The decision follows external pressure from the Biden administration and internal pressure from some members of Netanyahu's war cabinet and the leadership of Israel's defense establishment and intelligence community. Brett McGurk, President Biden's top Middle East advisor urged Israeli officials earlier Thursday to send a delegation to actively negotiate, saying some progress has been made with Hamas. The hostage deal the Biden administration is pushing would lead to at least a 6-week pause in fighting. The Biden administration officials say they want to try and get a deal before the start of Ramadan in less than 3 weeks. The main sticking point between Israel and Hamas centers on differences over the number of Palestinian prisoners to be released and how the list will be determined for the first stage of what could be a 3-phase deal. Netanyahu has taken a tough line in the talks, instructing negotiators earlier this month to be in listen-only mode. He later refused to send a delegation for follow-up talks. Yes, but the Israeli War Cabinet on Thursday approved sending the delegation and also gave negotiators a mandate to negotiate and not only listen like in the previous round of talks, an Israeli official said. That's different, right? That's a little bit different than their previous stance, which indicates that the pressure from the Biden administration is working, right? In the sense that, there's this idea that, hey, Biden can bully Netanyahu into a ceasefire. And that seems to be the case, right? It seems like at least the Israeli government is responding to the pressure from the U.S. to, at the very least, come to the table for some type of negotiation, a negotiation that will apparently lead to at least a temporary ceasefire. And I think from there, Biden's going to try to negotiate a more long-term ceasefire, at least through the election. Because quite honestly, if he doesn't do that, then, he's going to lose a large block of voters, right? He's probably going to lose a whole state if he does not get this ceasefire negotiated. So Democrats are feeling the pressure. They're doing kind of a 180 here, and they're now trashing the Netanyahu government over this issue. So it seems like the Biden administration is responding to the far left activists. Once again, they're getting what they want, right? Because they never give up. Okay, they've literally been rioting and protesting in the streets for months on end, and the Biden administration seems to be caving, and they're trying to force Netanyahu to issue a ceasefire. We will see if it works, but it really does show you the desperation of the Biden administration. They know that the writing's on the wall in regards to the momentum that Trump is gaining, and this issue right here really is destroying the Democrat Party. So he's trying his best to essentially try to appease the far left woke activists in order to save his chances at re-election. We'll see if it works. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.